Winston Churchill. The name evokes images of defiance during World War II, of a steadfast leader who rallied a nation against tyranny. His booming voice and unwavering spirit became symbols of hope in a time of darkness. Churchill's wartime leadership earned him a place among history's most celebrated figures, his legacy etched in the annals of greatness. Yet, behind the iconic image lies a complex and often contradictory figure, a man whose actions and beliefs cast a long shadow over his celebrated legacy. This essay delves into the lesser-known aspects of Churchill's life, exploring the controversies that continue to spark debate and challenge the traditional heroic narrative. Churchill's life was a tapestry woven with threads of brilliance and flaws, of triumphs and failures. To truly understand the man, we must confront both the light and the shadows, acknowledging the complexities that shaped his worldview and influenced his actions. From his staunch imperialism to his controversial wartime decisions, we will navigate the turbulent waters of Churchill's past, seeking to illuminate the man behind the myth. By examining the events that shaped his life, we can gain a deeper understanding of his legacy and its lasting impact on the world. Winston Churchill's life unfolded against the backdrop of a vast British Empire, and his worldview was profoundly shaped by the prevailing imperial ideology of his time. A staunch believer in British superiority, Churchill saw colonialism as a benevolent force, a means of bringing civilization and progress to the uncivilized corners of the world. He viewed the British Empire as a force for good, a necessary instrument for maintaining global order and stability. This unwavering belief in imperial dominance informed Churchill's policies and actions throughout his career, often with devastating consequences for the colonized people under British rule. From his early days as a young soldier in India to his later years as a statesman, Churchill consistently championed the cause of empire, defending British interests with unwavering zeal. His views on race and colonialism, deeply rooted in the social hierarchy of Victorian England, stand in stark contrast to modern sensibilities, revealing a darker side to the man often hailed as a champion of freedom. The 1943 Bengal famine stands as a chilling testament to the devastating consequences of Churchill's unwavering belief in British imperial power. As millions starved in the Bengal countryside, Churchill's government, preoccupied with the war effort, responded with indifference and neglect, prioritizing the needs of the British war machine over the lives of starving Indians. Churchill's own words reveal a callous disregard for the plight of the famine victims, dismissing their suffering with shocking indifference. When informed of the severity of the famine, Churchill reportedly asked, "If food is so scarce, why hasn't Gandhi died yet?" This callous remark, whether apocryphal or not, encapsulates the brutal reality of Churchill's attitude towards the famine victims. He viewed the famine as a consequence of Indian overpopulation, blaming the victims for their own plight, rather than acknowledging the role of British policies in exacerbating the crisis. The Bengal famine serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of colonialism and the often brutal realities of empire. Winston Churchill's willingness to employ brutal tactics in the pursuit of victory extended beyond conventional warfare. Churchill, a man who prided himself on his unwavering resolve, saw no moral quandary in utilizing chemical weapons, particularly against uncivilized tribes as he deemed them. He considered chemical weapons a legitimate tool of war, a means to a swift and decisive victory. During his tenure as Secretary of State for War and Air, Churchill advocated for the use of chemical weapons in various conflicts, arguing that their deployment would minimize British casualties and bring a swift end to hostilities. He dismissed ethical concerns about their use, viewing them as a necessary evil in the pursuit of a greater good. This callous disregard for the horrific consequences of chemical warfare, particularly on civilian populations, reveals a disturbing aspect of Churchill's wartime leadership. Section 5. Firestorm. The bombing of Dresden. The Allied bombing of Dresden in February 1945 remains one of the most controversial acts of World War II, a firestorm that reduced the historic German city to rubble and claimed the lives of tens of thousands of civilians. As with many wartime decisions, the bombing of Dresden was a complex event with far-reaching consequences, and its necessity is still debated by historians today. Churchill's role in the bombing of Dresden remains a subject of intense scrutiny. While the decision to bomb Dresden was a collective one, involving both British and American military leaders, Churchill ultimately authorized the attack. The bombing of Dresden, a city of little strategic value in the waning days of the war, raises troubling questions about the proportionality of Allied actions and the extent to which civilian casualties were deemed acceptable in the pursuit of victory. Section 6. A legacy tarnished Churchill's complex relationship with Ireland. Churchill's legacy in Ireland is a complex and contested one, marked by both admiration and animosity. While he played a significant role in shaping the Anglo-Irish treaty that granted partial independence to Ireland, his earlier actions during the Irish War of Independence cast a long shadow over his relationship with the Irish people. Churchill, as Secretary of State for War, played a pivotal role in deploying the Black and Tans, a paramilitary force known for its brutality, to quell the Irish independence movement. The Black and Tans' reign of terror left an indelible mark on the Irish psyche, and Churchill's association with this brutal chapter in Anglo-Irish relations continues to evoke anger and resentment. His later efforts to secure peace in Ireland, while commendable, could not erase the memory of past injustices. Churchill's legacy in Ireland serves as a reminder of the enduring wounds of colonialism and the complex relationship between Britain and Ireland. Section 7. Clash of Ideologies. Churchill, Gandhi, and the Struggle for India. Winston Churchill's unwavering belief in British imperialism put him at odds with Mahatma Gandhi, the leader of India's independence movement. Churchill viewed Gandhi as a dangerous demagogue, a threat to the stability of the British Empire. He dismissed Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolent resistance as a sign of weakness, failing to grasp the moral authority that underpinned Gandhi's movement. Churchill's contempt for Gandhi was palpable, evident in his dismissive and often derogatory remarks about the Indian leader. He famously referred to Gandhi as a seditious Middle Temple lawyer, now posing as a faker of a type well known in the East. This clash of ideologies between a staunch imperialist and a champion of nonviolent resistance highlights the fundamental differences that divided Britain and India during the struggle for independence. Section 8. Beyond the battlefield controversies on the home front. Churchill's controversial actions were not confined to the battlefields of war or the distant colonies of the British Empire. On the home front, too, his leadership was marked by decisions that sparked outrage and cemented his reputation as a polarizing figure. One such instance was his handling of labor strikes in the years following World War I. Faced with widespread industrial unrest and demands for better working conditions, Churchill adopted a hardline stance, deploying troops and tanks to quell strikes, viewing the strikers as a threat to national stability. His actions, widely condemned as heavy-handed and authoritarian, revealed a deep-seated distrust of organized labor and a willingness to prioritize the interests of the elite over the needs of the working class. This episode in Churchill's career, often overlooked in favor of his wartime exploits, provides a glimpse into his complex and often contradictory views on social justice and economic equality. Section 9. A balanced perspective. Recognizing the light and shadows. Winston Churchill's legacy is a tapestry woven with threads of brilliance and flaws, of triumphs and failures. To truly understand the man, we must confront both the light and the shadows, acknowledging the complexities that shaped his worldview and influenced his actions. While his wartime leadership and unwavering defiance in the face of Nazi aggression will forever be etched in the annals of history, we cannot ignore the darker aspects of his legacy, his unapologetic imperialism, his controversial wartime decisions, and his often callous disregard for those he deemed inferior. Churchill was a product of his time, a man whose views on race, empire, and social justice were deeply ingrained in the fabric of British society. Yet, to judge him solely by the standards of our own time is to deny him the historical context within which he lived and acted. Instead, we must strive to understand Churchill in all his complexity, recognizing both his achievements and his flaws. Only then can we fully grasp the enduring legacy of this enigmatic and influential figure.